Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Zimwaves TV, where the news doesn't come sugar-coated, but roasted and seasoned with the truth. In tonight's news, the nation witnessed a bizarre spectacle as President Emmerson Mnangagwa used his birthday celebration, now rebranded as the first ever Munhumutapa Day, to crown himself Munhumutapa IX. From the Rosary dynasty to the Shumba clan, history was rewritten in broad daylight, and the whispers in the corridors are already loud. And this is a carefully engineered attempt to secure him as life president. The script is painfully clear. Stretch his reign beyond 2030, talk about 2035, and present him as a kingly figurehead while the elites loot the country using him as a convenient smokescreen. Even his age is dressed up, declared as 83 when everyone knows he is pushing 87 and struggling with illness, yet the charade marches on with manufactured pomp. We will give you more details on this story in tomorrow's commentary. Across the Atlantic, the land reform ghost rose again, this time in Washington, where U.S. Congressman Brian Mast introduced a bill that would block Zimbabwe from getting loans from the IMF or World Bank until it pays $3.5 billion in compensation to white farmers. No more bonds, no more IOUs, only cash within 12 months. For a country cut off from capital markets since 1999, this would strangle what little financial lifelines are left. But while politicians feign shock, ordinary citizens know it's just another nail in the coffin of an economy already sinking. Back home, the lights are flickering as Kariba Dam levels collapse, and the government has decided that if the 21st century won't work for us, maybe the 1980s will. A $455 million deal has been signed with India's Jindal Africa to breathe life back into Hwange Power Station's rusting units. The plan is to refurbish them, run them for 15 years, and then hand them back to the state. It's survival over sustainability, coal over climate. And while industries may cheer a reprieve from blackouts, environmentalists can only shake their heads as Zimbabwe doubles down on dirty energy while the rest of the world tries to move forward. Meanwhile, our southern neighbors proved that corruption doesn't stop at Beitbridge. In Limpopo, 5 SANDF soldiers were caught red-handed after firing shots at smugglers sneaking in 24 boxes of Zimbabwean cigarettes. The smugglers fled, the loot was abandoned, and instead of turning it over as evidence, the soldiers hauled it to their own camp like part-time tobacco dealers. They thought they had hit the jackpot until the police swooped in and arrested them. It turns out Zimbabwe's most successful export isn't maize or gold, it's corruption. And it bends just as easily in Pretoria as it does in Harare. On the climate front, as world leaders prepare for the United Nations conference in November, Zimbabwean NGOs are demanding that our delegation stop treating global summits like free holiday trips and start pushing for real policies. Women and girls, especially in rural communities, bear the heaviest cost of climate change, walking further for water, feeding families through droughts, and suffering most during floods. Civil society wants their struggles put on the agenda, not hidden behind staged photos and banquet dinners. In the courts, a 15-year soap opera finally ended as the High Court struck off COSIM's Strategic Minerals Review application and ordered the company to pay costs to 14 Karate mining syndicate. The judge found the application dishonest and hopelessly late, filed more than a decade after the claims were cancelled. Evidence showed COSIM knew the truth all along, yet kept fabricating timelines to keep the case alive. Justice Priscilla Munangagwa Manongwa buried the matter once and for all, and for once a courtroom circus was shut down before it wasted any more time. And then came the embarrassment on the global stage. The Global State of Democracy 2025 report ranked Zimbabwe near the bottom, placing us 147th on rule of law, 118 on rights, 116 on representation, and 111 on participation. The report cited the weaponization of the judiciary, with the case of job seekers standing out as proof. 2 years behind bars without trial, bail denied, and then charges tossed out for lack of merit. It pointed to banned rallies, harassed NGOs, and elections so tainted by intimidation and bias that representation in Zimbabwe today is little more than a monopoly of power by ZANU-PF. And while Zambia, Botswana, and Kenya are moving ahead with reforms, Zimbabwe insists on dismissing every poor ranking as Western propaganda. And the government is blind to the fact that these numbers mirror the lived reality of repression and suffocated hope. So there you have it, a president crowning himself a king. A US lawmaker demanding billions before loans. A coal plant revival that belongs in another century. Soldiers turned cigarette hustlers. NGOs pushing for women's rights at climate talks. A mining case finally buried. And a democracy report exposing the regime's hollow promises. This is Zimwaves TV, where the news doesn't just inform, it roasts and exposes. Subscribe now, because in a country where leaders are declaring themselves monarchs, the least you can do is declare your freedom by staying awake and staying informed. Remember, tomorrow we will bring you an in-depth commentary on Mnangagwa being crowned King Munhumutapa IX.